Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Welcome to the newest, the greatest, the most spectacular show in entertainment history. Put your hands together for the fabulous Feebles Variety Hour.
Meet the Feebles, meet the Feebles. We're not your average, ordinary people. Meet the Feebles, meet the Feebles.
Animal acts
And other attractions.
to man a pussy will show you some action.
A contortionist,
And more than this,
a hippopotamus, unconditionally guaranteed to send you when you meet the Feebles. Meet the Feebles. We're not your average, ordinary people. Meet the Feebles. Meet the Feebles.
So this is a weird episode.
Is it? Because I think every episode's the weird episode.
Yeah. So it's not really related to anything we normally do.
No, I need a fucking break. So like the options were we can just like take a month off again, or we can like do something completely not Christian related. Because I'm so
Yeah.
dude, I was putting these notes together, and now that shit is actually happening, I'm just like, ugh, I'm burnt out. Like, just doing these notes. And then I'm also, like, doing notes for a show that I'm going to do on the Pod Van Dam Patreon with Bahu.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just like, oh, man, I need a break from Christian. I've had to watch so many fucking videos.
No, dude. So I never know what I can watch up to with
Yeah.
Christian. So I always roll the dice every time I'm like, well, maybe I can get through one more episode and not be ahead. And there's been once or twice where it's been like, oh, nope, we have not talked about this. I need to stop.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty early on in those Geno Samuels docs that we're at, because, like, it's Clyde Cash and stuff. So
Yeah, it's early.
that's like the first Chris Megatroll is Clyde Cash.
So as you heard coming in, this is not necessarily about Chris Chan.
So, puppet movies.
Yeah, puppet movies. But, I kind of tried to make it make sense in my head. Like,
Okay.
if Chris... I don't know if Chris knows about this, but I think if Chris knew about this movie, she would definitely like it.
Oh, yeah, especially for that last scene where it's like female empowerment through mass murder. Like, that's both Christine's things. Like, you'll find out in issues to Sonichu coming up. Big fan of mass murder. Also, female empowerment.
Now, there is drug use. That would bring a fine in Quickieville.
No. Christine smoked weed.
Oh, okay. So that's okay now?
Yeah.
That's off the books?
Yeah. I can show you videos of Christine high making out with Magic-Chan.
Okay. Do you have to?
If I've seen it, I feel like you should have to.
Yeah, you're probably right. So we're going to talk about Meet the Feebles. And I'm going to do this in like kind of the style that I do the horror movies for Superchantastic. But Peter Jackson is going to pop up over there for Dead Alive. So
I've never seen Dead Alive.
Oh, dude, you should see Dead Alive.
Well, that's what we should lead with on this, is that this is the only Peter Jackson movie I've ever seen.
That was something I was going to ask you in just a minute. Because I'm going to like take a very short step into Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
So Peter Jackson from New Zealand, for the most part, hasn't really left New Zealand, which maybe says something about New Zealand, because he's a weird fucking dude in the best possible way.
New Zealand, home of awesome things like Candy Lee and a very low COVID rate.
Yes, a fantastic COVID rate. Also home to apparently a very forgiving film commission, because New Zealand seems to be a country that, much like Canada and some other places, likes to like give money to the arts and let people make art on the government's dime. Of course, in Bootstraps America, we don't get that. But Peter Jackson used some of that along with money that he gathered himself to make Bad Taste over the period of a long time.
Shit like that is wild because Russell Brand went to like acting school with kind of the same deal where like the town he grew up in had scholarships for the arts.
Yeah.
And he got it like an art scholarship, like got one of those scholarships to go to like theater school, which is like, that would never happen here. Like,
no, that kind of thing's all private here, Ed, because private business handles things best.
ugh.
Yeah. So anyways, he follows up Bad Taste, which I now know you've never seen. Bad Taste is like ultra low budget looking.
Yeah.
And
Unlike Meet the Feebles.
I don't think Meet the Feebles is super low budget looking. Do you?
I think so I've always thought this movie looked like shit because like, oh, well, this torrent is a VHS rip, or oh, it's on YouTube, but this shit was on Tubi and it has no excuse. This movie looks like it's shot on a fucking potato. It's like a step above home camcorder. Like, this came out in what, 89? There's no excuse for this. Like, real movies came out that year. Like, this movie looks fucking, it's shot awful. Like,
so man, you're not wrong. It was shot on 16 millimeter. So like, it's going to be a square. Like, it was never meant to be like a widescreen presentation. It's always going to be a square.
okay.
Peter Jackson not only was one of the writers on this movie and not only the director on this movie, but he was also the camera operator, which is sometimes a separate job. In this case, it was not. Peter Jackson also had like no formal training in filmmaking.
He just did it?
Yeah, no formal
Good for
training.
him.
He just learned on his own. Like, because as a kid, he was into special effects and like making models. And so over time, he wanted to be able to film the models and make like Ray Harryhausen style, like stop animation stuff. And he did some of that shit with like a Super 8 as a kid. But yeah, he's completely self-taught. Imagine that. Imagine that guy got to make all the Lord of the Rings movies. Taught himself how to make films. Won an Oscar for Best Director. Taught himself how to fucking make films. So yeah, it does look shitty, but it's like, to me, it's the best kind of reason for a movie to look shitty, that like, you just decided you were going to make a fucking movie and then figured out how to do it.
I'll say it looks shitty, but it's not shot shitty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so part of that is probably lighting. From what I know about making movies, lighting can make a lot of difference. So I think that probably played into it. The fact that this puppet movie was made on not a huge budget also plays into it.
Yeah. What's the budget? Because I can tell you from like looking into this, like getting puppets made, a good puppet like the ones these are will probably run you about like, just like torso up gimmick, right? So obviously not Heidi. It'll run you about like $300, $400 in today's money.
Sure.
Yeah.
But and then it's what all can the puppet do?
Yeah.
And a lot of these puppets had to be able to do very specific things, and there were a lot of different versions of each puppet. The budget for this film was 750,000 New Zealand dollars.
Oh, that's not a lot at all.
No, it really isn't. But so yeah, this is Peter Jackson's second movie. So his second, after spending 5 years making his first movie, he decides the next thing he wants to do is make this puppet movie, which I think is fantastic. It was filmed in Shed 12, which is a derelict railway shed in Wellington, New Zealand, in the winter of 1989.
So you're gonna say most of the budget went to making this place look like a theater, because it looked like a rundown theater, but it's a theater.
It did.
For sure.
Now, I am not sure. Here's the other thing that I want to say before I get into this part of the movie. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So there's not a lot of information available about this movie. For a director that's as famous as Peter Jackson is, usually when I go to do research on anything they've done, especially in the age where there's been like a bunch of DVD versions and Blu-ray releases of movies to keep people spending more money on the same film over and over, there's usually like so much special feature content and interviews and bullshit. That's not really the case for this, like, at all. There's one documentary that was made like as the film was being made. It looked to be like for New Zealand television. Like, oh, there's this movie being made in Wellington, that kind of thing.
Okay.
That's most of what I could find. The only video I could find of Peter Jackson even discussing the film was him doing press for that World War I movie that he made out of all the old footage.
Oh, King Kong.
Yes, King Kong. So he was talking about the technology that he used to restore that World War I footage and how the next things he was going to do with it was a better transfer of Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles.
Well, fucking get on it, Pete.
Yeah. But there's outside of that, there's not a lot out there. There's just that. So as I was searching, I did find WikiFur.
Is that a furry Wikipedia?
It is the furry Wikipedia.
Oh my god.
It is the furry Wikipedia.
Oh man, I wonder if the Terry Skunk artist is on there.
They might be. I haven't dug in real deep. But Meet the Feebles has its own page in WikiFur. So somewhere out there are people who like to dress up as, I'm assuming, Heidi, or maybe like the bulldog. And yeah.
They're not furries though. I don't understand. So it was like, would Big Bird be on this website then? Because that's a wearable puppet. So is that a furry?
I don't know. I didn't dig that deep into the furry Wikipedia. I really didn't. Like, I just realized that that's what I was on as I was looking at the information, and I was like, oh, this is wild. That's one of those things that exists, but you've never seen in real life because you never had a reason to go to it, and then you're like,
There's some couple dressed as Heidi and Bletch.
Dude, that Bletch costume would be miserable.
Ugh. You gotta drag it around too. That's it's
miserable. But yeah, man, there's not a lot out there. I think Peter Jackson would be proud of the fact that he made it into furry Wikipedia, though.
He seems like a right little pervert, doesn't he? A little pervert man.
I really think there's a few things going on with Peter Jackson, and one of them might be that he's a little pervert man. Yeah.
Yeah, like not a sex pest. I don't think he'd force anything on anybody, but I bet like he definitely comes off like a little pervert man, like for sure. Like,
look, man, nobody makes 3 movies about people in their bare feet and aren't into weird shit.
explains that little look that Sam gives Frodo.
There was nothing weird about that look. Everybody knows what was going on at the end of that movie. If you're not comfortable with it, that's a problem you have.
Just made fun of Lord of the Rings so much this dude threw up. Where's the mop and bucket?
But yeah, that's something that you have to think about almost the entire time you're watching this movie. Is that guy got to make Lord of the Rings?
My friend Zach actually asked me he's like, what are you up to tonight? I was like, I'm doing a podcast with my friend Stacey. He's like, oh, what about? I was like, oh, it's about Meet the Feebles. He's like, never heard of it. What is it? I was like, it's a movie. I'm like, just keep in mind before you Google it, it's Peter Jackson's second movie. So the dude that made Lord of the Rings made this, and I haven't gotten a text back yet. But yeah, that's what like drew me to it for sure, because like I like puppets and everything, and I think they're like great. But I have friends that are like giant movie buffs, and one of them in high school loved Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, I don't want to watch this fucking Hobbit movie. I'm all right. I don't want to watch any of this shit. Like, and he's just like, no, you gotta watch Meet the Feebles. You should watch that. And I didn't. And then one day at another, like a mutual friend's house, he had a party.
Yeah.
And we were all very drunk and high, and he put this on, and I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. So much so that like for like 2 years, every party we had at that dude's house, somebody was like, put on that fucking puppet movie. It was like,
dude, it was like that. It was like a rite of passage movie. Once, if you knew about it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it was one of those things like you had to know about. Like you weren't just gonna stumble across Meet the Feebles prior to Lord of the Rings.
No.
I mean, you might not stumble across it now. It's not. I mean, the only place it's streaming is Tubi.
It's like, especially I'd say like 16, 17, when you can have a weird sense of entitlement about stuff. It's like knowing that like everyone loved these fucking Hobbit movies, and I was just like, no, guys, this is the real fucking masterpiece. It made me feel like I had one up on everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not a lot of people know about this movie.
No.
At all.
So the movie that people usually would cite, I think,
Bad Taste, right?
right, or Dead Alive, depending on what kind of jerk you wanted to be to an unsuspecting Lord of the Rings fan. Like, Bad Taste, you're just going to make them watch a movie that's not real interesting and looks real bad. It's like a super B movie, right? But Untrained Dude learning how to make a movie did a fucking really good job.
So Dead Alive, is that the one where like the poster is someone like opening their mouth and there's like a skull in it?
Yeah.
I kind of remember this VHS tape when I was a kid.
Yeah, dude, it's known for its lawnmower scene.
What's that?
So in the movie, there's a monkey. The monkey brings a disease with its bite that turns people into zombies, right?
Okay.
That sounds like way more serious of a movie than this movie is. It's very much a comedy, but super gory. There's a scene where there are a lot of zombies, right? And they're all in the downstairs of this house. And the dude straps a lawnmower to his chest and just walks through the zombies and chops them up. And then it's like knee deep in zombie parts.
Hey, let me guess. No, I'm just gonna keep in mind. Never seen this movie. The shot is like blood is spraying up in his face, right, and everything, and he's just walking forward like a robot man, kind of like slowly going through it.
For parts of it, it's shot better than that. It's actually, man, it's pretty well shot scene.
Okay, because I'm picturing like Mystery Science Theater 3000 level of like it's.
No.
It's a guy, and you can see the lawnmower blades going, but you don't really see anybody getting chopped up in it. And it's just,
no, you see
splattering on
shit,
his face.
You see shit gets chopped up. Like, Dead Alive's a gory fucking movie.
So was Peter Jackson in charge of the special effects for Meet the Feebles then?
Peter Jackson was in charge of pretty much everything for Meet the Feebles.
I want to know how, when they shot the puppets, they made them meaty.
I found nothing about that.
Peter Jackson, if you're listening.
Yeah. This made me want him to like have somebody sit down when he does that eventual transfer. There's a lot of things that it would be cool if he talked about from this movie, because there's almost nothing out there. But that's, I know the one guy in the documentary, the puppet designer Cameron Chittick, talked about how the whale was a nightmare to build. It 20 feet long, and it took 6 people to operate it. And the other thing that he talked about was that most of the work was actually maintaining the puppets and repairing them.
Okay.
Because of all the shit that the puppets went through. Like all the fluids that would get spilled on them and stuff. And then they would need it for another scene. So yeah, that was the biggest shit, was maintaining the puppets. But he didn't talk anything about like the special effects.
It's like Power Rangers, the movie. That was the main problem with that movie too, was that the suits were like, have you seen the Power Rangers movie?
The new one?
No. The one from the 90s.
Maybe. I mean, I've seen Power Rangers. I can't tell you what I've seen and what I haven't.
So the suits aren't like how they are on the TV show. It's not like just a spandex. It's like a pleathery type material with like muscles in it.
Yeah.
Problem is, like, every time they'd have a fight scene, after every fight, someone, like, they'd have to cut and then, like, repair somebody's suit because they just kept ripping. So it'd be like, even if you didn't get the shot, you'd have to cut, take a suit, repair it, come shoot it again, try it again. But then somebody else's suit would fucking rip. And I guess it was just like this nightmare production because these suits were so fucking terrible.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, right? Man, imagine that director and this everybody. That's gotta just be the worst.
Yeah, dude, that's miserable. You know, I never thought that there would be a connection, but there is. There's actually a Meet the Feebles connection to Power Rangers.
Oh, what?
One of the actors, Mark Wright, who did the voice of Sid the Elephant and Guppy the Fish, which, man, I love that scene where he's just like, hey, can you check this shit in my back molar? And just eats that fucking fish. Love that scene. So that guy was on a bunch of Power Rangers doing voiceovers.
Okay.
I don't know if he was on any of the good ones. These don't sound like good ones. These all sound like bullshit ones.
Okay.
Like Ninja Storm.
All right. Ninja Storm's good.
Dino Thunder.
Dino Thunder is fucking solid. These are all Disney seasons, which shot New Zealand, so this makes so much sense.
SPD.
Yeah, okay, so he's just in all of the New Zealand seasons.
Okay, so I mean, there's a bunch.
Yeah, there's a good portion of the time, like when Disney took over, they realized they can shoot the show in New Zealand and save so much money because they don't have to make it a union show. So, like, for, like, 8 years, every Power Ranger season was shot in New Zealand by New Zealand production crews with New Zealand actors. They had to do shitty American accents.
Oh, man. You know, a lot of TV shows did that. Like, Xena and Hercules were both shot in New Zealand. Jack of All Trades. Do you know that show?
Not at all.
Oh, man. That's a Bruce Campbell show.
Who's Bruce Campbell? Oh, okay.
Do you really not know who Bruce Campbell is?
No, I know who exactly. Evil Dead guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen these movies, but I also know that he's in every Spider-Man, right? Because he's friends with Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who he is.
Dude, there's a story about them shooting Jack of All Trades in New Zealand where he was so angry because they were filming that TV show at the same time that Peter Jackson was filming Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson had all the black horses. So he couldn't have a black horse. He had to ride a brown horse on his show.
What do you mean, all of them?
He took all the black horses in New Zealand.
In the country.
Yes, all the ones that were fit to ride were being used for Lord of the Rings.
How shitty does that make New Zealand sound?
What? That he took all of the horses?
That it's so small that you get all of the black horses in one area.
I mean, it is just a couple of islands. It's very beautiful.
I think Lewis is it. Yeah, I think it is New Zealand that Lewis Black has this bit about how he hates New Zealand more than any other country because it's like an 18-hour flight, and when you land, they don't even have the audacity to speak a different, or they have the audacity to not even speak a different language, and it fucking pisses him off.
That sounds like something that would piss him off. But yeah, all the puppets were custom made in this movie.
Do we know who made them?
Yeah, Cameron Chittick. He was the puppet designer.
What has he worked on? Do we have info?
That's a good question.
I want there to be a Henson connection so fucking badly on this movie.
I'm gonna look right now.
Because that's something I was going to say about the puppeteering work, is that some of it was good, but when it was bad, like, it was fucking real bad. Like,
well, man, there might be an explanation for that.
I'm assuming because it's such a low budget, he didn't get, like, all professional puppeteers. Because sometimes, or it might even be editing after, it's just sometimes the mouth flaps did not match up with words at all.
Right. I agree with that. Well, I mean, all of the audio was recorded over 3 days. And then those tracks were used to sync the puppets on set.
Okay.
Like, they just played the pre-recorded audio tracks, and then the puppeteers just matched to that on set. I don't know if that's normal for making a movie with puppets. I've never made a movie with puppets, but that's how it was done on this. So he has, wow. So he has a really weird career. Cameron Chittick he's obviously one of Peter Jackson's buddies because he was a makeup effects assistant on Bad Taste.
Okay.
He's also an actor in Bad Taste. He's one of the aliens. This dude has writing credits for a TV series that I'm assuming is a New Zealand series because I've never heard of it. The Adventure of Bottle Top Bill and his best friend Corky.
Cool. Let me tell you about that. Bottle Top Bill and his best friend Corky. Bottle Top Bill is a man that, much like Gambit, his superpower is kinetic energy, and he throws bottle caps at people, right?
Uh-huh.
Corky. Let me tell you about Corky. Corky, one leg. Other leg, motorcycle tire. He rides Corky to do adventures. Corky has no special powers. He's just got a motorcycle tire for his left leg.
Your version is so much better than the real version. I looked up the real version, and it's like, it's claymation, so at least it has that going for it, or a digital version thereof. But it is like a shitty blue cowboy that rides what looks to be a giraffe. I don't know.
So Corky's a giraffe, huh?
It is either a giraffe or a camel or the absolute shittiest horse of all time.
Candy Lee, if you're listening, tweet me and let me know. If this show's like an institution, then we're just like mocking it openly. What it is, if that is a giraffe or a camel.
So his only credit as a puppet designer or puppet maker is on Meet the Feebles.
What qualified him to make puppets then? Like, why did Peter Jackson look at this man and be like, yeah, you can make every puppet for this movie? Which he fucking did really well, too. So I can't even, like, Peter Jackson wasn't even wrong. It's just like me, I would have never given this guy a chance because he's never done it.
I'm telling you it was because he was his friend. I don't know that to be any sort of fact, but if he worked on Bad Taste, I think it was one of those things where he was like, yeah, we're going to make fucking puppets. You want to make puppets, man? Yeah, I want to make puppets. All right, let's go make fucking puppets.
Well, fuck, I want to make puppets, but no one's... Nobody hired me to make puppets.
Dude, Peter Jackson, I'm telling you, Peter Jackson's a stoner. I'm convinced of it. Like, there's one of the few things that I can find about this fucking movie is he talked about how at times he would forget that he was directing the puppeteers and try to direct the puppets, and he called it feeblitis.
I love it, dude. It's like Sesame Street, dude. If you go watch behind the scene stuff of like celebrities doing Sesame Street, eventually they reach a point where they're not talking to that puppeteer and they're just they're making eye contact with Ernie and like speaking with Ernie. It's wild.
I love it.
It's awesome, dude. It's like oh man, I'm too high right now. I can't remember the name. Oh, Emmett the Otter. It's Jim Henson stuff, right?
Yeah, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Have you seen the Emmett Otter outtakes?
I love them. Yeah.
It's so good. It's shit like that. Like, dude, yeah, at that point I would not, if I was Peter Jackson or like Jim Henson, anyone at that point, especially like the Emmett the Otter outtakes, I would not be I'd be talking to those puppets for sure.
Yeah.
Feeble-itis. I like it.
Yeah, but I'm positive Peter Jackson gets high.
Oh yeah, man! You're not gonna make this movie not getting high.
Yeah, I mean,
he said like we're not gonna watch this movie not high. I don't think.
He said Meet the Feebles is the kind of film he would want to see. If you don't get high, you don't want to see this movie.
Yeah, man. Like this is. There's no. I was thinking about it when I was watching it. It's like there's no nuance to this movie. It is literally like it's a dirty Muppet show.
Yeah,
that's it. That's fucking as far as that thought went. Let's make a dirty Muppet show.
And dude, it's so much that because like the plot line is just basically like we have a stage show, but on the side they're making porn.
And selling and buying drugs.
Yeah.
And like yeah, dude, because there's God, I gotta pull it because I only remember animals ever. I've seen this movie a million times. And it's like
oh, the names of the animals?
Yeah.
I only remember a couple.
Yeah, the Vietnam vet crocodile guy.
Yeah.
Just wants crack so fucking badly. And
yeah,
his routine is like a knife throwing thing, and he knows like that's the best. They're making him practice, and he knows in his head like I can't not do this if I don't have crack, and he just fucking chucks his knives anyway. It's like fuck it.
Just kills that girl. Just fucking kills her. Doesn't care.
Oh man, that's okay. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, man, the only name I can really remember is Robert, and it's only because like in high school all the time there's this kid Robert, and me and a couple of my friends all the time would be like, your name might be Robert to your friends, but it's horse shit to me.
Why would you say that to him?
Dude, yeah, he didn't get it. He's just a normal dude. He's never seen this movie. And we would just fucking say it all the time and let like your name would be Robert to your friends. But you fly shit to me. Piss off. Dude, I don't care what anybody says. Trevor the Rat carries this whole fucking movie. Trevor the Rat is the absolute fucking best.
Yeah, Trevor the Rat is probably the best character in the whole thing.
He's the catalyst for everything.
I hate Robert.
Robert sucks so bad. I'm with you. Robert is not. It's a lot like Doug, the cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Like they want him to be so likable, but he is so. And this is coming from me, so this is saying something so like unmanly. Like he's unlikable in every way. It's like that girl at the end should not be with Robert because Robert is spineless. Except like no saves her at the end, but the whole time he's just like, oh shucks, I don't know, guys, I can't. Oh shucks. And then that scene where he tries to fucking take it over as a background actor and put like motivation. I hate. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Robert's dude. I'm with you.
So I used to work with a dude named Robert who had that speech impediment.
No fucking way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everybody knows somebody with the R's or W's speech impediment.
I had never, so like, I've only heard it twice. I've heard it in Meet the Feebles, and I heard it with Robert. And when I first started working at that job, I thought that dude was pulling an elaborate joke on people. I thought that he had just seen Meet the Feebles and was like, I'm going to tell everyone I'm Wobbit. And I was like, oh my God, this dude rules. And then after like a couple weeks, I realized either he's real dedicated or this is real. And this is not a joke he's playing on people.
I I had a friend that was an R's or W's person, and he also went to Florida for school for a little bit to learn how to be an underwater welder.
Oh no!
So be like, yo, what are you going to Florida for? Gonna be an underwater welder. I was just like, this is fucking amazing.
Oh, and you can't like.
How are you an atheist, Stacy, when things like that happen? Tell me that that's not a funny trick from God? Stop it.
I mean, nature's a funny thing, man. So, like, you're talking about the crackhead knife thrower, right?
Yeah.
And they do that whole Vietnam flashback sequence with him?
Yeah. It goes on forever. That's like that's one of my main gripes of the movie is I think that thing goes on about 3 minutes longer than it needs to.
Oh, it does, and it's great. There's a reason for it going long, and there's a reason why it kind of feels weird in the middle of the movie. It was kind of shot as a separate movie.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so, like, this thing went through some stages of existence, right? Like,
Okay.
It was originally going to be a TV series.
I can kind of see it. Okay, quality-wise now, that makes sense.
And they got these Japanese investors, and they pushed it to be a film. And
Okay.
then the budget got bigger. And, like, I mean, they're already trying to save as much money as they can. Like, they're filming in a fucking railway shed. They're reusing sets. Like, when they would tear a set apart, they would save as much, like, metal and wood as they could and use it to build the fucking next one. Like, tight fucking budget for this to be blown out into a full movie. And, like, it's cold. Everybody's wearing coats and shit while they're on set. And eventually they decide they need to do this Vietnam part. Like, they were going to cut it. They decide, no, we're going to do it. And, like, some of the crew actually throws in. And they paid for it as a separate film called The Frogs of War.
So, this moment right now, Stacy, is where I'm learning that Windward is not a crocodile and he's a frog.
Yeah.
Why has he got such a long, like, face then? Why has he got a snout?
I think maybe because this is the only time that dude ever made puppets.
I guess, but everybody knows what a frog looks like.
Yeah, man, I know what a frog looks like too, but if you were like, hey, dude, go make me a frog puppet, it's not going to look like a frog. I think this dude figured out, like, I can make a good puppet or I can make a puppet that looks like a frog, but I can't make both. Went for a good puppet. So in that whole Vietnam thing, there's like a parody moment. I don't know if you're aware of because you don't watch movies. Have you ever seen The Deer Hunter?
Never even heard of the Deer Hunter.
What?
No.
You've never heard of The Deer Hunter?
No.
The Deer Hunter is a war movie. Part of it was actually shot in the town where I live. It's like from the late 70s. It's got younger Christopher Walken, Robert De Niro.
Okay. So okay, never mind. I'm sure he did because he's a million years old. But, like, I've never heard of Christopher Walken being in a movie before, like, the 90s.
Because he wasn't in movies that you would have watched.
Yeah, I guess not. Never, no.
You know, like, he was doing films like this, like Deer Hunter. He wasn't doing, like, Disney films and shit.
Why wasn't he, though?
I mean, I would have cast him. I can make an argument for Christopher Walken being in every movie.
Man, he's in The Rundown, and that's great. So that's really all the proof I need that Christopher Walken can make anything good.
Yeah. But yeah, that whole Russian roulette scene, that's all from Deer Hunter.
Okay.
That's not the only movie that gets homage paid to it in this film. And I don't know if you caught the other one. I had never noticed it until I watched this movie this time. But there is only one possibility that I'm willing to believe. The director, when he's directing people on stage, somebody comes up and they're going to do their bit, and he says, "Thrill me."
No way.
Yeah, he does. I refuse to believe, like, with Peter Jackson being into, like, funny zombie movies and making, like, the movie he makes after this is a funny zombie film. I refuse to believe that's not a Night of the Creeps reference.
Stacy, you nailed it. It has to be. There's no, because no one says "thrill me." That's not a real thing people say.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that has to be a Night of the Creeps reference.
It's so fucking crazy because, like, these movies were legit watched back to back many times when I was growing up, and I never put that together. No, never.
Well, like, it's been in the last few months that we did that Night of the Creeps episode.
Yeah.
And so it sat, like, it was there in my head, you know, more fresh than usual when I watched this. Yeah, for sure. That has to be a Night of the Creeps reference. There's also a scene when I don't know if it's the director. No, it's not the director. It's when they're directing porn.
With Madame Bovine?
Yeah.
Dude, that's when Trevor's doing it, I'm telling you, Trevor is like, I bet when Peter Jackson actually talks about this movie, when they do all this, they'll let you know, like, Trevor's the catalyst of this movie. Like, Trevor makes everything happen.
It's true. He also, during that scene, says pork sword.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've ever heard that term used outside of this one dude I used to know who always said pork sword. Like, casual conversation, like, "Oh yeah, man, I pulled out my pork sword."
Dude, that dungeon fetish scene is so fucking funny when, like, that Madame Bovine is all tied up, and, like, that dude's like, "Nah, I need to sniff some panties," to, like, get up. And she's, like, disgusted by him. Like, it's the fucking creepiest.
And that dude sniffs panties all through the movie. Like, that continues to be a thing.
Dude, that tells you, like, that, like, not just because it's panty sniffing, but because Peter Jackson's definitely a pervert, man, because he knew the best animal for panty sniffing is an anteater. He fucking knew it. He thought about it, and he fucking got it. He's like, Peter Jackson definitely is a pervert.
Dude, and think about this. So this is 1989. This is no internet.
Yeah, yeah.
In New Zealand.
Dude.
Like, man, and you knew about, like, panty sniffing and fucking bondage porn in 89. You had to find special, like, you had to look for that shit. You know what I mean?
So, like, this, like, the show they're gonna put on is a reunion show, right?
I think so.
That's how it seems. So, like, but we get no backstory on, like, when the Feebles were famous, or, like,
you sort of do. I mean, you get the backstory of...
You get Heidi's backstory.
Yeah.
But that's just her as a lounge singer.
That's true.
It's
and that had to be a long time ago, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of like, I guess how it would be, though, in the 90s if they did, like, a Muppet show. Like, it would be a reunion or revival. It's just like, if this universe's Muppets.
Oh, and it's 100% this universe's Muppets. I mean, down to the point where there's, like, a chef, but he's a baker. And
but at the same time, it's a fake Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Harry with his not AIDS.
Yeah.
Dude, Peter, like...
That puppet had puppet AIDS.
Peter Jackson made AIDS jokes in 89.
Yeah, he did. Bold move. But he never called it AIDS. In his defense, he never called it puppet AIDS.
They called it the big one.
Yeah, the big one. He got the big one. And also, I mean, if we're going to talk about that, though, I mean, yeah, he made an AIDS joke, but he didn't make a gay AIDS joke.
No.
And in 89, that was still kind of like the popular mindset was that, like, oh, AIDS is a gay thing.
Do you think the Sodomy song is homophobic?
No, I think so I don't think you can make... Yeah, it might be.
Because I never got those vibes till this time.
I didn't either, and I don't know. So here's the thing, like, the worst character in the movie, like the character that's the biggest asshole, is the one that says the homophobic thing.
Bletch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which falls in line with, like, oh, you make Cartman say the worst thing. You know what I mean? Like, if the shitty character says a thing, it's not trying to portray it as like a good thing. It's portraying it as like what a shitty person would do, right? I don't think you can be homophobic and make that scene. Like, there's sparkly dicks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that it definitely rides a line of possible homophobia. But I don't think it was meant that way, no. I do think that Peter Jackson might have invented the mukbang, though.
Dude, I gotta say, Kate Yup in mukbang videos were kind of the weirdest thing I got into for a little bit.
I couldn't imagine being super into that.
So here's what did it. Kate Yup might have been abducted and kidnapped, and she was sending us little signals. I know it sounds stupid now, but at the time,
no, Ed,
it was really cool.
It doesn't sound stupid, Ed.
Dude, it seemed like, and like, big props to Kate Yup, because this was not the intention. It's just a thing that, like, she was like, all right, I'll run with that. That's fine. Because she was just making mukbang videos. So she wears, like, a mask in them, right? Except her like, mouth's exposed.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess, like, she probably just has a real job and doesn't want to, like, be known for doing this.
Right.
But, she is, like, doing this one video, and she's got, like, a little bit of a busted lip and bruise on her arm. And she's tapping the bowl while she's eating giant amounts of food, right?
Yeah.
And she just so happened to, like, tweet out, like, help in Morse code. And she's like, fucking, yeah, okay, I'll run with this. So then she starts doing things in videos, like, where she capitalized, like, she puts little captions, like, oh, this is so good. And, like, she starts capitalizing the first letter of everything, and then, like, some O's and so, and when you press it out, it's like, help me. And it's like, so at that point, when people are still at that point, though, Stacey, because people are dumb, they're like, oh my God, she needs our help. And rational human beings are trying to talk to them like, guys, this is just, like, performance art at this point. Because, like, the dude, if she kidnapped her, is not going to let her edit her own videos and put little messages in them. That's not how that fucking works.
Right.
So, like, she's quit doing it at this point. It's just a thing she ran with for a little bit. But yeah, there's like a good month period where I'm watching fucking Kate Yup eat like 15 pounds of seafood. So I'm just like, what's happening? It's like, that's because that's what happened when Poppy quit. That's what I did. Thanks, Poppy.
Yeah, one of the many atrocities she's brought on this world.
Yeah, she made me watch Kate Yup videos because I was like, I need something weird.
Well, man, I'm telling you, I think mukbang videos start with fucking Heidi eating all those cakes. That felt very mukbang-y to me.
How old do you think Heidi is in this?
Oh, I think she's probably supposed to be in like her 40s.
Yeah, I feel like mid-40s, right? Because it feels like, because they just keep shaming her for being old and fat, and it feels like that's when Hollywood starts doing that to women.
Yeah, which is dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, Peter Jackson, like, he really does, like, you understand why Heidi snaps at the end. You get it.
Yeah. There's enough of a story there that twist makes sense, that she just loses it and kills everyone.
Dude, is Heidi killing everyone with a machine gun the biggest Deus Ex Machina, or the craziest Deus Ex Machina ever? Like,
maybe.
We don't know how to end this movie. Let's have Heidi snap and murder everybody. Oh my God, it's Rogue One.
Well, yeah, but Heidi in this gets to then like be a cashier at a grocery store after.
Yeah, dude, I like that at the end, because like all the likable characters pretty much get a happy end. Like Arthur's the best, by the way. Arthur is the greatest character in this. Like,
Arthur's might also be the best looking puppet in the whole thing. Like,
Yeah,
The expressions that he gets are really good.
dude.
Like it's an
Arthur looks
emotive puppet.
Yeah, and he looks like a nice old man, but a worm. Like it's perfect. Like
Yeah.
they nail Arthur's character perfectly in that puppet.
Yeah, that puppet looks great. It might be my like I have a little list of favorite shit in this movie.
Oh, me
He's
too.
one of my favorite puppets. I also like the contortionist puppet.
Oh, the yoga guru dude.
Yeah. That puppet's really good. Also, that puppet gets its head stuck in its own ass.
Guppy's a solid puppet too.
It is.
Even though it's like 10 seconds.
Well, it gets spit back up, and it's in all that shit on the ground too.
The hairy puppet, once he has the big one, is disgusting. Like,
oh my god, yeah. That's the kind of shit when they're saying they had to maintain the puppets. Like,
yeah, I get it.
the fly eating shit out of the toilet, even though I knew it was a puppet and I knew it wasn't shit, still was a little like almost throw up. It eats shit, Ed, with like a spoon.
It does. And it looks like shit. It does look like shit, guys. Louis, when they make, I don't know how they did it, when they make him snort the fake Coke that burns his entire face off.
Yeah.
How do they get it to melt like that? Like,
I don't know. Dude, one of my other favorite things, like there's little jokes in this movie. Like there's all the big shit, but there's like little stuff, like stuff I didn't notice. Like this time was the first time I noticed it. And one of them is like, after they film the porn, they're talking about like titles for future films that they could put out. And the dude's like, anal annex. It'll appeal to the intellectuals.
intellectuals love alliteration.
Yeah. Such a good line. So eventually this film gets to come out.
This would be like on the level of Night of the Creeps where if you told me like it didn't really get a release. Like it was I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It hit a runtime at 97 minutes.
Perfect perfect movie runtime.
I agree. And I don't feel like this movie ever gets like slow. You know? Like
no, yeah.
There's not ever like a lull. It's just like a good solid 97 minutes.
Okay, here's what I'll say about it. And this is how, like, when you said, like, it might have been a TV show, I was like, that makes sense, like, pacing-wise. Where I feel like every half hour, you can stop and, like, take a break and get something to eat and come back. And you're, like, back in the story. You know what I mean? Like, every 25 minutes to a half hour has a really good break spot.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Because that's how I watched this movie this week.
Well, that's the thing. On Tubi, it's free, so you can watch it. If you haven't seen this movie, you should go on Tubi and watch this movie. And it has commercial breaks, and they're timed out. Like, they weren't annoying like Pluto's commercial breaks are.
Oh my God, Pluto's are so fucking random.
Yeah, dude, nothing makes me angrier than watching a TV series on Pluto. Like, I'll watch Degrassi on there, or I'll watch American Gladiators. And like they have built-in commercial breaks. They had commercials when they were on TV. And the Pluto commercials don't happen in those commercial breaks. Like, come on. Just line them up. It's not hard. It's already there. Somebody did the work for you already. You just have to put in the thing that says make commercial now.
Do you think maybe Pluto goes to a commercial like every channel at the same time?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because that would make sense. That would be the thing that made the most sense of like how they paste the commercial breaks on Pluto.
That might be it. And it might not be by channel or by episode. That probably makes more sense since it's a free thing. Like, probably not putting a lot of money into anything they don't have to.
Why did he think this could be a TV show?
I don't know. Why did anybody think
this
that
would
they should
never
put money into this?
No, no, because I get the movie part. Because you can do more in a movie. This would never work. No television channel is putting this on the air.
Dude,
ever.
Because you live in America. They show crazy shit on TV in some countries.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they show titties sometimes. was gonna say we see Heidi's titties. Can you
You
imagine
do.
being the puppeteer that had to craft a giant hippo's boobs?
Or the udders on the fucking cow, the bondage cow.
Or that's true. You gotta go home and look at your fucking wife. Tell her what you did this day. Well, put nipples on a giant hippo. Is that a good New Zealand accent?
Maybe. Well, that's like even the puppeteers too. Like, what did you do today? I made a whale fucking cat.
Unless the puppeteers are like pervert Peter Jackson and his friends, and then they went home and gladly told their fucking significant other what they did.
I'm glad that this started as that we think Peter Jackson might be into freaky shit to now where you're just like pervert Peter Jackson.
Dude.
Like King Shaman Peter Jackson.
I'm gonna look something up right now, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is until I can be proven right or wrong.
Okay. Well, while you're looking that up, so there's a couple of different release dates for this movie. I found
Wait! I got it. Peter Jackson's only 5'7". He's for sure a pervert. Dude, he's he's just a short, stocky little bearded man. Like that, he's for sure a pervert. Who's the other one?
Because he's
Who's
short?
The guy? Who's the guy that made Hellboy?
Hold on, you have a theory that short people are perverts?
Short, old men with long hair and beards that are like I would say chubby to like fat. Yes.
That's a very specific. That's a very specific
exactly.
stereotype.
Yeah. Guillermo del Toro, is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look how
Dude, I don't think it's
tall
any
he
secret.
is.
I don't think it's any
5'10".
secret.
Pervert. You're under 6 foot.
5'10's not even
You're
short.
under 6. I know, but you're under 6 foot, and you're an old man with like salt and pepper long hair and a beard, and
Man,
Stacey.
Guillermo
I know this is Stacey. This might be hitting close to home, but I don't include you in this because you're not a famous director. It's like you have to be a certain level of fame and look like that, and you're for sure a pervert.
Guillermo del Toro, I don't think hides that he's a pervert. He made a whole movie about a person fucking a fish. Like, I don't think that's...
Dude, I'm gonna try so hard not to get successful now because I'm only 5'11", and I gain weight constantly, and I don't want to cut my hair. I gotta watch what I'm saying. Maybe I'm projecting a bit, and it's scaring me.
You've seen your own future.
It's Peter Jackson, and I'm sad about it. It's like, no, I don't want to stretch one book into fucking 9 hours of movies.
Dude, I gotta tell you, I really hope. So there's a scene in this movie that I never thought about in the same way as I did today. You know the scene where the giant spider attacks the car?
Yes, I completely forgot that. I forget it happens every time I watch this movie until it does. And I'm just like, oh, that's really random.
So do I. I completely forgot about it. And I really hope, I hope that in part of Peter Jackson's pitch to direct Lord of the Rings, he said, yeah, I've worked with a giant spider puppet before.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. He probably did. Did he?
I want that to
Jackson
be
direct
real.
Wild Wild West?
What?
It also has a giant spider in it.
It does, but it has a giant spider for a different reason. Kevin Smith can tell you all about that.
I love that fucking story.
So yeah,
Is that
this
streaming on anything, by the way? You know more about this stuff than I do.
Wild
Evening
Wild
with
West?
Kevin Smith. No, Evening with Kevin Smith, the first one.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I would love to rewatch that.
You've got to either buy it on media format or you can buy it on iTunes.
Dude, I could buy it from Kevin's store and he'll sign it and sell it to me for like $85 fucking dollars. Dude, I just want the DVD. I don't care about your signature. Why are you trying to sell me Jersey Girl for $45? I just want the DVD is $5.
Eddie needs money. He hasn't made big money movies in a long time. I will
I
pay
get
him
it,
an
but
extra
you know
couple
how-
bucks for his name on things.
Do you know how excited I was when I was like, fuck, we're going to the secret stash and finally get another copy of Jersey Girl.
Dude, I will find you a copy of
$45. I'm like, I don't want that.
Dude, I'll find you a copy of Jersey Girl. That
Good.
shit has to be at like the exchange here.
Man, I had my copy, and then we broke weed up on it for a blunt, and then my cousin got mad, and we smoked weed in her house, and that DVD still had a couple like shit on it, so she threw it away.
Oh.
I've never seen it since. Now, keep in mind, I haven't really looked. It's not like I'm looking through DVDs for Jersey Girl, but I've never
Right.
came across it.
Dude, yeah, I bet I can find that at the exchange for like $5. The Dogma is the one that's hard to find because it's completely out of print. Like,
I have Dogma, and Stacy, if you need it, you can literally have it.
well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
I was gonna say I haven't watched that movie in like 10 years.
I haven't either.
Oh,
So this movie came out in a couple of different ways. It premiered at a film festival in Hamburg, Germany
holy
in
shit!
in April of 1990.
Imagine making your stupid little puppet movie,
Yeah.
taking it to the festival.
Yeah. That happened though. How much money do you think this movie made in its New Zealand box office?
Oh
Now,
my god!
I couldn't find any information for how much money it made worldwide, but I'm assuming it's definitely at this point for sure it's made its money back. But its release went kind of funny. Like, so Japan gets it in December of 1990. In Portugal, it's February 91. Australia, March 1991, which seems wild to me because that's next door. I would think that it would end up in Australia before, like, I don't know, Portugal.
No way! It went to like Australian, like the head of Australian movies, and he watched it. And was like, "What the fuck's happening here?"
Nope, none of this here. So Sweden 91, Germany 91, France 91. The UK, it comes out in 92. And here in the United States, it comes out in February of 1995.
Oh my god! Imagine sitting on this for 6 years and being like, "Now's the time." What happened in '95? Like, was Peter Jackson a name then?
So yeah, the difference with 95 is so Dead Alive's out at that point for sure. Let me see. I don't know my years well enough.
Oh my god, Stacy, I'm so excited because I have no idea what led to Peter Jackson getting Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't know any movies he did before. Like, in between Meet the Feebles and Lord of the Rings, I got nothing. So, like, the idea of how this man that made this movie got to Lord of the Rings is completely foreign to me. I have no idea.
Yeah, he made Dead Alive
Yeah.
in 92. He made Heavenly Creatures in 94.
What the fuck is Heavenly Creatures? I've never even heard of this. Like,
Heavenly Creatures is like based on a real life murder case of two teenage girls in Christchurch, New Zealand.
so it's not Michael. I was thinking it would be like Michael. The John
No.
Travolta, where he's an angel.
No. And like Kate Winslet's in it. It's what got him like his deal with Miramax and got him over to the US to be, and then he made The Frighteners, which came out in 96. But so in between Heavenly Creatures and The Frighteners, somebody was like, "Oh, that pervert puppet movie you made? Yeah, you can show that in the US now." You know where you couldn't show it? Ireland. They fucking banned it.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Ireland looked at that puppet movie and they were like, "Nope, none of that here." Banned.
That's so weird.
Dude, there were movies used to get banned all the time. Haven't you ever seen like when horror movies would say like banned in 37 countries?
Yeah, but this is nothing. It's
Yeah.
puppet violent. It's literal puppet violent. It's like
Yep.
who's
Ireland didn't want
offended
any
by
of that.
this?
Ireland?
How?
I don't know.
I think no. I think that like I get if this was actors doing all this shit, it'd be fucking wild. But I think the fact that it's puppets, like I don't know, you can't get that mad at it where you ban it. It's puppets.
Ireland felt that it needed banned. They weren't having that shit in Ireland.
What the fuck?
I couldn't find why it was banned. I didn't look that deep into why it was banned, but it was banned in Ireland. But so how much money do you think this made in New Zealand when it was released?
Oh my god, back to this. I can't even imagine because like the idea of this being in theaters is so fucking weird to me. 80,000?
Yeah, that's exactly
Holy
what it made.
shit!
You looked that shit up.
I swear to God, I didn't, Stacy. I promise you, I didn't. I was just like, what's an embarrassing amount, but still money?
That's exactly what it made. Now again, I think it made a lot more money now.
Oh
obviously.
yeah,
But
no, there's no way it has because no one I know that's watched this movie like owns a copy of it. Everyone like downloaded the torrent. Everybody.
well, it was hard to find.
100%. I would pay money for this if I could. It's impossible to find.
Well, hopefully it gets a release soon. I had a VHS copy for a long time.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where'd you find that?
Store? I don't know. But probably I'm guessing I bought it at like a Suncoast Video back when those existed.
Dude,
for probably way more money than I should have, or I ordered it out of Fangoria or something, or I got it at a horror convention. One of those things. I don't remember where I got it, but I'm sure it was one of those.
What's the best thing you ever bought from a Suncoast?
I know exactly what the best thing I ever bought from Suncoast was. So when Suncoast was going out of business, they put shit on crazy clearance, right?
Yeah. Dude, I went in there last week. Our Suncoast was open with $50. It was like, I'm going to leave here with so much shit. CDs are like 75 cents.
Yeah, dude. I bought like poster frames to hold real movie posters. Like the 27 by 41 posters are always crazy expensive. I bought 3 of those for $8 a piece. But there were these, like, I don't know if they were 18 or 24-inch Hellboy figures that were super detailed. And I bought all of the ones that they had in the store because all my friends wanted them. So I bought like 6 of them at once. That was my haul. My last day haul at
Right on.
Suncoast was all of their giant Hellboy figures.
I got the only thing I remember. It was just a giant stack of CDs, but the only 2 I remember are because they came out like right around the same time that like our Suncoast shut down. Where like that whatever MXPX album was out at that time.
Okay.
And then Swan. And I remember.
Oh, you got the Swan record. That's good.
Yeah. It was like $5. And I remember the dude arguing with me that I was gonna like the guy working at a liquidation sale was like saying Billy Corgan's good band. I go, fucking yes it is. Like sell me that fucking CD. I've heard honestly on 89X. I know what I am going to like. I've signed it up for. I got this. Give me that fucking CD. And it ended up being like one of the top 10 albums of my entire life.
Dude, I'm a firm believer that Swan record is the only good thing he's done since like the Smashing Pumpkins double record.
Dude, it's so
Melancholy.
good. It's so good. And I don't think it's streaming anywhere. And that's the fucking problem.
No, I don't think it is. And I'm sure that's some like weird Billy Corgan.
100%.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I'm sure the only reason Smashing Pumpkins is everywhere is because other people have somewhat of a say in it.
Yeah, man. That one album was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Which, coincidentally, came out around the same time that I discovered Meet the Feebles.
Oh.
Yeah.
So things are circular. There's a connection. This movie is surprisingly well rated on Rotten Tomatoes.
I wonder what it would have been like when it came out. Because now, yeah, it's it's a cult thing, so I give it. But like when it came out, there would have been Rotten Tomatoes. How bad would the people shit on it? Like, this is just gross out fucking dumb humor.
So the only critic reviews that I could find that were that old were all kind of okay. Like, they all looked at it as like a political statement and a social statement. So it got kind of not, it didn't get treated as, just like shock trash.
So it came out here like 95, you said, right?
Yeah.
So that's like Howard Stern time. Beavis and Butthead.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How did it do here?
I couldn't find numbers for here, but I'm assuming pretty bad.
Yeah, because I'm sure it wasn't like a nationwide release, right? There's no fucking way.
It did get a nationwide release, but that doesn't. So things can get a nationwide release, meaning that it's available for any theater in the nation that would like to pick it up to carry
it.
But you have to get people to want to do that. That's taking up real estate on a screen. So, I don't know how. I couldn't find good numbers. I couldn't find a lot of information on this movie.
So just a bad time. I'm going to ask you this. Because talking about that just reminded me of this. Do you remember the first movie you had to travel to see? They're like, it's only in this theater.
I do.
Okay.
It was a lot more recently than I think. Oh, no, you know what? So it depends. Do you count a special thing where the director's going to be there?
Yeah, do both, Stacey. We got time. We talked about this movie for an hour, and we normally go 2 on this.
That's true. So the first movie that I had to do that with was Terror Firmer, which is a trauma movie that Lloyd Kaufman had made that I was going into blind. I just knew that I liked other shit that Lloyd Kaufman had done. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go see this. And he did a thing at the Cinematheque in Cleveland where he showed the movie and then did a Q&A afterwards.
Okay.
And little did I know when I went to that I would have a lot more run-ins with Lloyd Kaufman in my life. But at that point, I was a pretty big fan. What?
Did you fucking fight him or something?
No, man, no. I did horror movie conventions for a long time, and Lloyd, you get to know everybody when you're doing those, and Lloyd was always at horror movie conventions with Trauma. Lloyd, to give you an idea of the kind of dude Lloyd Kaufman is the Paul Heyman of B horror movies.
So, I'm sure you're gonna agree with this, and I think other people will too. Because I have seen Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
Meet the Feebles too. Peter Jackson doesn't want to do it. Lloyd Kaufman's obviously the best choice to do this movie, right?
Dude, I would 100% endorse a Trauma production of a sequel to this movie.
There you go. See, it all comes full circle, Stacey.
No one would make any money off of it except Lloyd.
I'd be fine with that, man. I'd help him with him. I'd go to puppeteer work.
Lloyd might, and that's what Lloyd counts on, is that everybody just wants to work for Trauma.
He's Paul Heyman.
Dude, that's who he is. So that was the first thing like that. I did the first movie that I just went to another theater to see.
Yeah.
Was House of a Thousand Corpses. It got a limited release. I almost drove to Canada to see it because a week before it was anywhere here, it was in Toronto. Then the next week, it was just in New York and LA. And then the next week, it was in Cleveland. And I went to the giant theater in Independence, Valley View. And it was playing on one screen way over in the corner of the building. Right. So I went to Cleveland to see House of a Thousand Corpses. And then I saw it 18 more times in the theater.
Mine was Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh.
I don't know what. So it's one caused me to see the other for sure. I don't remember if Little Miss Sunshine came out before that or what, but I know one was I like these quirky indie movies. But whichever one didn't, I think it was Napoleon Dynamite came out first. It was my birthday, and remember MTV helped produce that movie?
Little Miss Sunshine?
No, Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so before it got a nationwide release, it was just this independent movie that MTV financed and like made. And we had to go to Columbus to see it for my birthday. And when we left, everyone but actually me and my two friends that like loved Meet the Feebles and Night of the Creeps and all that were like, that was the worst movie I've ever fucking seen. That didn't make there was no story, that didn't make any sense. It was just fucking weird, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That movie gets a nationwide release in September. Everybody loves it, and they're like, "This is so fucking funny." And me and Dave and Gabe are like, "What the fuck? Are you shitting me? Like, this is the movie we saw in June that you all hated." Like,
yeah. Dude,
and I don't think, and I saw like both releases of it, and I don't think there was anything different. Like, I think it was the exact same movie.
So I hated that movie the first time I saw it.
What? Oh my god, it's so weird. No, never mind. It is definitely like that early to mid 2000s weird, quirky indie.
Like
Garden State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really, really hated Napoleon Dynamite the first time I saw it, and really liked it the second time I saw it. And it was it was within like a month of each other.
It's your stepbrothers?
Oh no, I hate Step Brothers, man.
Dude, I hated Step Brothers the first time I saw it in a theater, and the second time I saw it was so fucking high, and I was just like, nope, this is fucking funny. Never mind, now I get it. Like, I was just not in the right environment.
Man, I wish I could be you with Step Brothers. I can't. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'll just watch Grandma's Boy. Grandma's Boy is the funny version of that movie.
Not streaming on anything either. That sucks, man.
No, that's a DVD I have that actually gets watched.
I love that movie. I didn't watch that movie for a year and a half because Rob Schneider's in it. I hate Rob Schneider so much.
Yeah,
that's why people are like, everybody's seen Despicable. I'm like, I have not, because I fucking hate Rob Schneider. And I always hated Rob Schneider. I've never thought he was funny.
Yeah, he's just Adam Sandler's buddy.
Dude, he's Adam Sandler, but shitty, right? Even like as like, I'm gonna say like a 6 or 7, 8-year-old, when they do making copies, I'm just like, I don't know, Adam Sandler could do that. Like, even then I understood Saturday Night Live enough to be like, really, he's just saying making copies and just saying people's names funny, and that's kind of like an Adam Sandler thing, like just doing funny talk. That's Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, it was not the brightest time for SNL. When Rob Schneider can make the cast, you know, the bar's low.
You ever heard about him at the Friars Club roast?
No.
I can't remember whose it was, but it was in like the last decade. Rob Schneider was on the dais.
Okay.
And like people were going up, and like obviously Rob Schneider's there, so she's gonna dunk on Rob Schneider for how shitty he is, right?
Yeah.
So they said like all these comedians go up, and Rob Schneider's like one of the last people, and Rob Schneider goes up and fucking kills it. And apparently like Rob Schneider is like a really funny stand-up and like really witty, and came up with all these amazing jokes that made everyone look fucking dumb because they just spent an hour and a half talking about how Rob Schneider isn't funny.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't understand his fucking movies now because
he just did movies for money, man. Like some people don't care about what movies they're in, they just care that they're getting paid.
Late stage Robin Williams.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a lot going on there.
Never mind, you're right. I get told all the time that I don't like Robin Williams because all I think of is like his giant studio family movies.
Yeah, no, early Robin Williams. Dude, Robin Williams stand-up was all about like doing drugs.
It wasn't funny though, man. It's just a coked out dude just talking fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Sometimes a coked out dude's funny.
Good thing he did the good coke and not the bad coke that Louis did. So his face didn't melt off.
Oh, man.
I love that you're going to still name this Superchantastic.
I am. And so I am. We talked about Chris for like a minute at the beginning.
Yeah.
People are going to be probably mad. But like it's not going to start with like it's gonna be named so that people don't like. I mean, it's Meet the Feebles is gonna be there, like it's not. But it's also super chantastic. It's just, look, man, we wanted to take a break, and I think a movie about dirty puppets is probably the right thing to do. Plus, like, I think a lot of people who listen to these episodes don't listen to the horror movie ones because maybe they don't like horror movies.
Which, do you want me to like speak on that? Because I don't either. And I've loved every one of these horror movies episodes to the point where like I haven't watched them, but I have Halloween and The Thing on a list of like when I've literally, because Stacy, this is the highest I could put a horror movie. When I have ran out of everything else to watch and I have nothing, like, these are go-tos because I've heard you like give the backstory of them and like talk about these movies. So like now I understand, like I know going into it, it's like I watched a YouTube video before it. You know what I mean?
Right. And which is kind of the goal for me with some of these is to give people like a jumping off point. Like this month there's going to be a couple of episodes and I'm actually doing another weird episode on that channel of like kid friendly horror movies that don't suck. I think a lot of the lists that I see like that are lazy. Like,
yeah,
and they don't.
It's all like Disney Channel movies. Like Halloween Town is always like in the top 5, and Halloween Town is not that fucking good.
No, and so like kids want to watch. I think about like because I watched horror movies as a kid, and I still have some of those memories of like what I liked about stuff. I think kids want like horror movies that are scary to kids or horror movies that are like interesting to kids have kids in them in like primary roles, like so I'm giving a little bit of that in it, but so I'm doing that episode and I'm doing some other horror movie episodes for October, and I mean I do it every month, but more of them in October than usual. But
Haunted Mask was a solid like Goosebumps. Haunted Mask scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
And so I think there's some of that. I think there's a lot of like good TV for kids. I don't know how much of that I'll get into, but there's a bunch of that. I also think like every Simpsons Treehouse of Horror is really fucking good.
Do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite Treehouse of Horror?
Or like even like a small section of it, like.
I think my favorite like section ever is when Flanders is werewolf. Maybe that one. I also like the one where, and I think it's pretty early, where the 2 aliens come down and take everything over.
Oh yeah,
Kodos and what's the other one's name?
I quoted that the whole time I was in the Simpsons part of Universal Studios. At that WrestleMania in Orlando, not even joking. Just that one Treehouse of Horror episode, that one section, I just kept quoting everything from that. And everybody was like 25 or under, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's like, no, trust me, I'm really funny right now. Trust me.
But yeah, I think those are probably my favorites. Treehouse of Horror is good in general. Like, if there's one thing that's been consistent with The Simpsons, it's those episodes. Like the series might have gotten way off track at some point, but those episodes, because they're what they are, it's hard to fuck that up.
I've heard from Mike from Red Letter Media that the last season or 2 of The Simpsons has been kind of funny.
I have seen an episode or 2 out of them, and yeah, they kind of are. Like I saw them by accident, sort of. Like I go through cycles of TV shows that I fall asleep to, and like Futurama and Bob's Burgers are my normal cycle. But when Disney Plus came out, I was like, oh, I have all the Simpsons again. I'm just going to start at the beginning, and I would watch them as I fell asleep, right? And eventually it got to like seasons I hadn't really seen before. And so the problem there was I started wanting to watch them at a certain point. Like there was a point where they were real bad, and I was like, oh, good, I can sleep through this. But sometime, in like those last few seasons, I'd started being like, oh, no, this is actually interesting. I'm like not falling asleep because I want to watch this. So, yeah, he's not wrong. It's gotten better. So, like, we do Chantastic, and it comes out on this channel.
Yeah.
And I do the horror movie shows, and they come out on this channel.
This is both.
It is. It's both. There's going to be a third different thing in January, and I guess we can close the show out talking about that. And just know that, like, the next time you see a show that says Superchantastic, it's going to be, like, a real Superchantastic. We'll be back to talking about Chris, and it'll be what you're used to. But you sparked an idea that's going to be a reality, Ed. You said, hey, man, you should do episodes about Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah, the Kevin Smith episodes. Yeah, I just was like, fuck, when you want to break from horror movies, you should just do, like... Did I say every? Because I didn't mean cop out.
So let's talk about it, because I'll run down what's actually going to happen in January.
Right.
There's still going to be horror movie episodes. I don't plan on stopping that. That's basically what this show is at this point. Like, there may be not this show, that show. It's confusing.
Yeah.
So Superfantastic will be horror movies all of the time going forward. That's just what it is. Superchantastic will be about Chris Chan and what we've been doing every episode but this one. But those Kevin Smith episodes are going to be their own thing. So there'll be like a third thing coming out on here that I don't have a name for it yet, but it's going to cover anything Kevin wrote. So no cop out.
Good, thank God. Tracy Morgan's great in that movie. We could do the whole cop out episode literally right now. Movie sucks. Tracy Morgan's funny, but like, movie sucks.
Yeah.
Done.
Movie's not good at all. Look, everybody found out Bruce Willis is a dickhead because of that movie. Like, that's a now known fact. Bruce Willis, big dickhead.
But they also found out that Tracy Morgan's the best.
Dude, Tracy Morgan really is the best.
Dude, have diabetes and you're in there with like your foot fucked up, and then when it comes time, you're just like, yeah, let's shoot this because there's tons of people here that work that depend on me doing this scene, so let's get it done. Like, amazing.
Yeah. Dude, I love they replayed the Eddie Murphy episode of Saturday Night Live the other night. And Tracy Morgan is gold in the beginning of that. Pure fucking gold. So good. Everybody's talking about how they made their money. And he's like, I made my money on the road. And Eddie Murphy's like, oh yeah, from doing all your stand-up gigs? And he was like, no, I got hit by a truck.
You know what I'm really stoked about for those Kevin Smith episodes is that all these people are like, oh, Clerks 2, and it's like, nah, man, you guys aren't getting. It's gonna be me on Clerks 2.
So Clerks 2
I'll quit Superchantastic if I don't get on Clerks 2. It's my favorite movie.
So the format's going to be a little different. I think there might be 2 people per episode on a lot of them.
Okay.
So like 3 people total, me and 2 other people per episode. I think he had mentioned wanting to do it, so I have a plan for another person and you for Clerks 2.
Ooh, I hope that person is the Great Khali.
The Great Khali? No, I don't have any contact with the Great Khali. I mean, he can if he wants to. I don't know if the connection from India will be strong, but yeah, so that there's a few that are kind of spoken for already. I have plans for some other ones, but
I like that I got so defensive about Clerks 2, but like at the same time, I feel the exact same way about Jersey Girl, but I know that I won't have to fight anybody on it.
No, right now you're the only person I have planned for Jersey Girl. Because I think anybody else would just tell us it sucks, and maybe that we need that.
Yeah, they're fucking wrong. So...
Yeah, I agree. They're real fucking wrong. That's a good movie. George Carlin's finest acting performances in that movie.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we're doing any of the Askewniverse stuff. So I'm going to do Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Strike Back, Clerks 2, Reboot.
I still haven't seen it.
Man, just keep it that way.
I like that. Definitely had intentions to watch it, and then once I found out to rent it when it came out, it was $15, and my girlfriend shamed me into not not doing that. She's like, "You're gonna spend $15 for a fucking Kevin Smith movie in 2020," and it's like, "Oh shit, you're right."
Man, I wish I would have had her around, because instead I was like, "Oh, Pam likes Kevin Smith, and I like Kevin Smith. We'll just buy this for $15. We'll own it. It's fine." The shit was on Amazon Prime for free, like, within a month. So mad. So mad I own that movie. It's the only Kevin Smith movie I'm gonna, like, shit talk when I do it. It's the only one that I have, like, strong, bad opinions on.
Really?
But yeah.
Oh, not me.
Yeah, it's the only one that I have strong. There are things I dislike about some of the other movies, but so I'm also gonna do Red State, Tusk. I have not seen Yoga Hosers, so when I cover it, that'll be a first. And I'm gonna do an episode on Clerks the animated series.
Oh, Leonardo.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a whole year. It's gonna run all of 2021. It is a whole Kevin Smith series.
Well, so we got to go back then, right?
To New Jersey?
Yes.
I think so. When it is easier to be around people and the Smod Castle opens in Jersey, I definitely want to go to something. That was my favorite thing we did on the whole fucking New Jersey WrestleMania trip. Was going to Secret Stash and going to RST and Quick Stop.
Secret Stash is fucking solid.
Secret Stash is great. Pam got that fucking really cool Quick Stop shirt that, like, obviously just made for the store by, like, some cheap local printing company.
Yeah.
Looked like it was old stock from the 90s. So good. But Secret Stash ruled. And I'm sure that business is not great for them right now. So if you live in the Jersey area, man, go give those guys money.
I'm really excited for what are you going to call the Kevin Smith one?
I don't know yet. I don't have a name for it.
Nope, nothing off the top of my head. Never mind.
Yeah. If anybody has a good idea for what I should call that Kevin Smith show, let me know. Put it on Twitter.
I hope someday, Stacey, we get to come back and do another Meet the Feebles episode because news is coming out about it. Instead of us just talking about how we love this movie. Because everything else is like, you go into real big detail about it. But this was definitely just me and you being like, I fucking love these puppets.
Oh, dude. Well, so, I mean, like, here's the thing. I tried. There's just not a lot of information out there about this movie. So I would be down if there's ever, like, another release of it that gives more information to cover. I'll do, like, a mini episode on that. There's going to be a Peter Jackson episode eventually on Superchantastic, because that's the other thing. Because this was, like, a weird episode, I didn't do, like, the whole, like, director backstory, you know? Like, that usually takes up some time. But
you could have, and you could have talked about how he's a fucking little pervert, man.
We did talk about how he was a little pervert. I think more than anything in this episode, we might have talked about how Peter Jackson might be a pervert.
It's just a tiny pervert, man.
This episode could be called Peter Jackson Might Be a Pervert.
Probably is a pervert.
Just telling you, man, that's a lot of bare feet and 9 hours of film.
Dude, even Quentin Tarantino. You know what I mean?
Quentin Tarantino's a pervert?
Oh, you've never heard about the foot thing with Quentin Tarantino?
No, I haven't.
One of the girls in Death Proof flat out admits that, like, she watched enough Tarantino movies to realize Tarantino had a foot thing. And so she, in her audition, took her shoes off and put them right up on his desk.
Oh. That's amazing.
Like, they watched enough Tarantino movies to realize, like, oh, this dude definitely fucking has a foot thing.
I guess there is a lot of foot stuff in Tarantino movies. Hey, he likes what he likes, man. Somebody's got to buy all those foot pics off people.
That's true, and it's Quentin Tarantino.
That's the new economy. Is just selling foot pics.
God bless them.
Yeah. Dude, I'm fine with it. Make money however you can.
I was just gonna say, I saw not even a side jab. I saw so many people retweeting Felicia Rose, and that's when I realized, in 2020, sex work's pretty fucking acceptable.
Dude, I would like to think it is, but then I think maybe I'm just inside of a bubble. You know what I mean? Where just the people I know are real accepting of it, but I think probably if you're going to a Trump rally, you're not at least.
Oh yeah. Maybe it's just my little Twitter bubble.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, which is fine. There's a bubble for it, which is better than where it was before.
It's true.
There's a lot more social acceptance for it, which is a good thing. There should be no shame in that.
No shame in your game, Felicia Rose.
Not at all. Go check out her stuff.
I was gonna say the only other person that I respect enough to plug that is Annie Cruz, and she doesn't do adult work anymore. She has a Twitch stream and she goes by her shoot name, and I'm just I don't know about that.
Yeah, hey man, I guess
no, because listen, man,
it's
dude, it's like if you watch somebody in WWF your whole life, and then they go to WCW and they got a whole new name, and then they're Miro the Twitch streamer. I'm just I don't know that I'm into Miro the Twitch streamer.
Dude, I am into oh man, you probably haven't seen that movie though. I hate to bring wrestling shit on here, but
I love that you're I don't want people to know.
Nah, man, I don't care. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious if you know me at all. I like wrestling. But my favorite documentary ever is King of Kong.
Oh yeah, Billy Mitchell, man.
Yeah, Billy Mitchell was on AEW.
I saw that. Billy Mitchell fucking sucks. Why did they let him on AEW?
And so that's my thing is I don't know if Miro knows that Billy Mitchell's a piece of shit. I don't know if he's ever seen that movie.
Dude,
or if
everybody knows Billy Mitchell's a piece of shit.
Yeah, dude. Billy Mitchell is the best villain that's ever been in any movie ever. People have tried to write villains that good and didn't. He's just the worst, and he's got his little fucking crew of lackeys. It's so, and everybody feels bad. You can't watch that movie and not feel bad for Steve Wiebe. In my heart, I want Orange to come out next week with Steve Wiebe. Him and best friends have Steve Wiebe in the van with him. But nobody would know nobody will know who Steve Wiebe is. The only thing people know is Billy Mitchell and his dumb hair and his stupid American flag tie.
Dude, Billy Mitchell sucks so bad. Billy Mitchell votes for Trump. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't even know if there's a doubt to that. I don't know. He might vote libertarian.
Nah, fuck that dude. He votes for Trump. Look at that fucking tie.
He seems like the dude who would vote for Trump, and then he would be real smug about liking Trump.
Yeah.
He's that dude. I can tell you this, his fucking sauce is gross. I bought it once and it was no good.
Why'd you buy it?
Because I saw it in a store and I was like, oh my God, this is a real thing. This is that Billy Mitchell sauce. It's awful. Not good at all.
Billy Mitchell sauce.
You can taste how horrible of a person he is in his fucking product. So to go over everything, we've covered Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, puppets fucking. Peter Jackson might be a pervert, some wrestling stuff. Billy Mitchell. What am I missing, man? Furries? We had furries.
Oh, we nailed furries. We got it.
And we mentioned Chris. So
do you want to? I pulled it up just for fun because it is Superchantastic.
Yeah, we've got to do the stats. It's kind of close with the stats.
All right, everybody. Thank you for allowing me this break from Chris Chan to talk to you all about if you heard me on the first episode that I did of Superfantastic, if I knew Stacy would have been into Meet the Feebles, this is definitely a thing that would have came up. Because I definitely love this movie. I fucking have loved this movie most of my life. It's so good. I would say more so than the Muppets, my love of puppetry and weird puppet comedy comes from Meet the Feebles.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I definitely like. I mean, I saw the Muppets and everything beforehand, but like my love of all that shit is Meet the Feebles based. Like as much as like I picked out everything that's wrong in this movie and made fun of it, I definitely adore this movie. It's so good. So thank you for letting me get a break before we get into this like some real weird, sad, funny Chris shit to talk about this movie. But it has been, according to the coping calendar, 9 days since Chris made up a new escapist fantasy to cope with reality. 639 days since the dimensional merge was to be completed, a coping mechanism Chris believes will rescue him from his debt and other life problems. And 1,072 days since Chris joined the Cult of the Idea Guys, which further fueled his escapist fantasies. And the begging counter is 81 days since Chris last begged for money, 364 days since Chris last uploaded pages to meet his paid obligations to the Sonichu comic, and 4,024 days since Chris applied for a job.
The streak lives.
We're one day away from a full year. Yeah. That's exciting.
Chris, draw some fucking pages.
Dude, you got paid $1,000 and in Chris money, that's like you're loaded.
Yeah. Like so she has to be getting the like some kind of the government unemployment thing or something, right? Like
for sure.
Because there's no way that in what's going on now that I would have assumed she could have gone this long without asking for money. Like, this is longer than normal.
It was Barb's birthday. That's exciting.
Oh, congratulations to her on living another year.
79 years old.
I'm shame on me, but I really thought that COVID would snatch Barb from us.
I did too. I'm not sad she's not dead.
Neither am I.
As Christine, as your sole caregiver, I did not expect.
No.
So I definitely didn't.
And I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad it didn't get her. But man, if I was a guy who liked to put a little money on stuff, boy, that's a line I think I might have took.
Same. 79 years old.
Chris is your caregiver. Hygiene being a factor in this whole thing.
Christine is your caregiver.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, it's not just us, Stacy. Just so you know.
Dude, when I say Chris, I'm not saying that it's not Christine.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that in like that way.
Here's how I'm gonna break it down. At this level right now, because it could always change. Chris Chan is a catch-all. Because Chris Chan is also short for Christine Chandler. So
right.
Chris Chan's a catch-all, but pronoun-wise, it's she and her.
Yes.
Unless we're talking in the past, and I'm going to go by how Gino does it, right? Because at this point in the documentary now, where we just came out with the last one, Gino, it's female pronouns. And he didn't make a big deal out of it. He was just like, at this point, Chris considered himself transgendered and changed his name to Christine.
And I think when you're
blah blah blah, and it went on, and that's just how it is. Like,
and I think that's the right way to handle it, because you're looking at something historically. As silly as it is to call this like a history podcast, it is though. And so like to me, and I have that same thing with. I have a friend that I grew up with, who was Ed, who eventually became my friend Rachel.
Yeah.
And when I talk about things I did with Ed, I talk about doing things with Ed. And when I talk about things I did with Rachel, I talk about things that her and I did together. You know what I mean? Like,
which, like, that's a person you were in contact with and you're friends with, and and you still, like, so imagine us talking about this person we have no contact with and don't actually know. So we are gonna slip up sometimes, and it sucks. And I'm sorry about it. I really am. Like, but pronoun wise, it's gonna happen, especially jumping between like past and present with what's going on.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm in the line of thinking that like Christine is not a good person, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't respect her enough to be like, you know who you are, and if it's female pronouns for you and that's what you want, then like that's it, and there's no question about it.
Well, dude, for me, it's always been like, how hard is it? Like, people make such a big deal who aren't the person who's asking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the person who is just referring to someone. To me, it's like, why is it a problem if someone says that something makes them feel better? Why is it a problem for you to just say that?
Yeah.
You know, like, Christine is she, Chris is she now. That's fine. If I'm talking about Chris right now, it's she, and there shouldn't be an issue with that.
Yeah, we've never been the podcast that has been like anti-Chris or Christine either. Like, we've definitely just talked about what's happened. And I think from like most of the podcasts I listen to, we're definitely friendlier than most of them.
I would imagine. I don't know. I don't know what other people say, but I know what has happened to Chris and Christine in their life so far, like what you've told me and what I've learned. And man, like, it sounds like people are real mean, and we're not in any way like mean. We're just, talking about things that have happened.
So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Like, I wanted just to let everybody know we're definitely gonna work on in the future. We'll fuck it up. I'm not a perfect person, and we will definitely fuck it up sometimes. But at the same time, like, yeah, if we're gonna talk about right now, it's Christine and everything. But back then, I don't know. I think I will definitely try to use the correct pronouns. Because it's what a fucking just easy, basic thing to do for a person.
Yeah. So are we on the same page, though, that if like Chris did something saying he is not wrong? So
that
if it's
is
2000,
how literally every other Christorian is doing it. So I can't. Yeah.
It's not. There's no like hate meant in that. It's just historically accurate.
Yeah.
Like,
but Christine, I'm addressing Christine now. It's been a year. Fucking draw a comic page. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like tomorrow. You won't hear this by tomorrow. I might edit this tonight.
You got paid money, Christine. Come on.
Yeah, like come on. Draw some stuff. What else is there to do right now? I realize that things aren't as locked down as they once were, but man, like, just draw some stuff. Like, what did you do the whole time? Since like March, not one. You could draw one page. Come on. But boy, the escapist shit on Twitter happened that whole time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Christine has figured out this thing now where, luckily for her, like, it sucks for us, but like for her mental health, it's really good. Where Twitter has this thing now where like you can't comment unless you already follow her.
Oh, that's probably real smart for her to do.
It's so good, and it also takes out weens, so I don't have to read a bunch of stuff like get a job 90 times, because like Christine's not going to get a job. Stop.
Right. Yeah, look at that streak number. Like, that's not changing. Until it has to, that's not changing.
Yeah, it's just... And it'll never have to. It'll never have to, like, ever.
Oh,
Crystal
dude, it's gonna have to.
No, man.
What happens when Barb goes, man?
The government will still take care of Christine. Like,
I think
Christine will move into a coming from somewhere.
You have more faith in the government than I do.
Yes, yeah, no, coming from somewhere that has a lot of this kind of place, there is in housing. Government housing is based on your income.
Right.
So Christine will be able to move into that. Like, what will happen when Barb dies? This sucks so bad. What will happen when Barb dies is that house will get, like, the bank owns it. So the bank will get that money. Christine will move into one of these low income housing apartments. And will probably not have enough room for all of the stuff. So a lot of stuff will get sold. She'll move into one of these low-income housing apartments where her rent will be like $25 a month, and like she'll pay $25 a month from her welfare, and then the rest will be her money. And then hopefully she'll figure out how to, like, this is another thing she's already talked about, so this is really good. Doing medallions again.
I saw that. I saw that you were going to buy a Magichan.
Oh, I'd love to buy a Magichan medallion. So it seems like she's going to start moving in that direction again, which is really good for her.
So here's the thing. It's really good if she doesn't just take everybody's money and not make them medallions. Which
didn't happen except for that one guy. That's one person. Other than that, everybody else got their stuff.
How long has it been since a page was drawn?
A year. A full calendar year.
That's all I'm saying. Look, man. So I would love to have a bionic medallion.
Yeah.
But I'm going to wait and see,
I wouldn't,
if other people get theirs.
Stacy, here's the problem. I wouldn't do that because she only did them for a limited time last time. But everybody got theirs. It took a minute. But everybody got theirs, except for that one guy that was pissy and then pissed Chris/Christine, pissed them off. So, like, his shit got fucked with purposely.
I'm not worried about my shit getting fucked with. I'm worried about my shit never getting made.
So the thing is, like, the $1,000 to meet the Patreon requirements for the, like, Christine already has that $1,000. To make a revenue stream that continues to happen, she'll have to get this stuff out in a timely manner, right?
I think
I'm applying logic to an illogical situation. I realize that.
I think you're giving Christine too much credit as far as like thinking that far in advance. To be like, oh, if I want this to continue to be a thing, I have to keep doing it. I think, like, depending on how much money came in right in the beginning, things could get real slow real quick.
You're 100% right. I just think, I don't know. I think with Barb gone, it'll be a sense of urgency. And I hope, I don't want Barb to pass for it to happen. I just hope Christine, I hope she realizes, you got a revenue stream, man. Tap into that.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not cheering for Barb to go, man. I lost my mom this year. I don't wish that shit on anybody. But my situation was a bit different than Christine's. My mom was living with us. Christine is living with her mom.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of faith in things going well for Christine when that happens. I hope Barb lives for a long while.
Me too, man. Me too. But the medallion thing gives me, I don't know why. I'm dumb as fuck. That's why. It just gives me hope.
Dude, I hope it shows up. I hope you get it. I hope everything's good. I do. I hope it all shows up and everything's good. I don't have your faith. As with many things in this world, Ed, I don't have your faith.
I know Jonas said it before, and I think he's wrong on it. I love him to death. But where he's Ed's biggest fault is that he sees good in everything. I'm no. I think Christine is gonna realize that she needs a revenue stream going out, and these medallions are the first step to that. And she's gonna fucking do them, man. I know there's 20 years almost of history to prove me that is not gonna happen. But I think she's gonna do these medallions. Or at the very least, give the blueprints on how to make them to Jacob Sockness and make him fucking do it.
Dude, and that's the other thing is I don't know what the demand is. I don't know how many.
So much more than when we started.
Really?
PewDiePie, in the time that we started this, PewDiePie did a video about Christian.
Oh.
And that brought everything back around. And then the Geno Samuels documentaries being so fucking good.
They are so good. Dude, I know we don't really talk about shit that we want to do on this show ever. Because this show kind of just has its format. I would love to have an episode at some point where we just have Gino on to talk about Christine. I would love to do that episode. I would love that way more than ever having like Christine as a guest.
Yeah. I don't want Christine on.
No, we've talked about it. I don't want dragged into it like that.
No, but talking to Gino about like what made him start this and like all like that and like where he lands on things, because the documentaries just state what happened. You get no feelings from Gino on like anything.
Right. Yeah, it's just a history lesson, and it's a really good one. So yeah, that's an episode I want to do. How do you want to close this thing out?
You don't even know because we don't. I have no clue. Probably with just that fucking song, the Quickalicious. Probably me saying this right now, and then that just fucking happening.
Listen up, y'all, cause this is it. The beat that I'm banging is delicious. Fergalicious definition makes them girls go loco. Well, my treasure, so they get their pleasure from my photo. So you see me, you can squeeze me. It ain't easy, I ain't sleazy. I got reasons why I tease them. Girls just come and go like seasons. Fergalicious, so, but I ain't promiscuous. And if you were suspicious, all that beep is fictitious. I blow kisses. That puts them girls on rock. They're just lining down the block just to watch what I got. So delicious. It's hot, so delicious. I put them girls on rock, so delicious. They want a taste of what I got. I'm fergalicious. Tasty. Fergalicious deaf. Fergalicious deaf. Fergalicious definition makes them girls go crazy. They always claim they know me, coming to call me Stacy. I'm F to the E to the G, I to the E. I know other girls is down like me. Fergalicious, so delicious, nice and vicious. Up at the gym, just working on my fitness. She's my witness. So rock, hiding down the block just to watch what I got. So delicious. It's hot, so delicious. I put the girls on rocks, so delicious. They want a taste of what I got. Fergalicious. Hold up. Check it out.